You ever think about how much historical and cultural baggage is behind a lot of the things that we talk about? I mean, so take like Black Lives Matter. Can you imagine being an alien, like dropped into one of those conversations? And you'd need to be caught up to speed with hundreds of years of history in order to sort of figure out what people are talking about. You know, Jim Crow and civil rights in the last century and slavery the century before that, and that's just scratching the surface. And so a lot of the things that are really important, like they have parts and issues of them that go back. And that was true in Jesus' day as well. Well, we're in John chapter 4. Let's just take the first 9 verses. Now, when Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself did not baptize but only his disciples, he left Judea and departed again for Galilee. And he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, at the field that Jacob had given his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, so Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about the 6th hour. So we're starting to talk about Samaria. And in the next little bit, John, who knows that some of his audience knows the history and maybe a bunch of them don't, is giving us the little clue that Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. So Jesus was going from where he was in the south in Judea back up to Galilee, and Samaria was this chunk in between, and you could go through it or you could take twice as long to go around it, and he was going through it. Well, here's where the hundreds of years of history come in. So some of you that were at youth group a couple weeks ago heard me talking about Assyria, that brutal empire that was taking over large swaths of the ancient Near East. So they came in at one point and took out this northern chunk, the kingdom of Samaria, and took some of them away and put other people there, but there were still some people there that were a part of the Samaritans, and they intermarried and kind of mixed their cultures and all that kind of stuff. And then there was the southern kingdom, and they got taken out by the Babylonians and kind of went as more of a chunk and kept their racial identity and their culture more intact. And they came back at some point and didn't get along with the Samaritans because the Jews thought that the Samaritans had sort of corrupted themselves. And the Samaritans are like, well, you guys are all high and mighty coming back here and just thinking you can just waltz on in. So there were issues, and they went way back. And so Jesus comes into the midst of this. And we'll see throughout this chapter how he starts dealing with it. But the thing is, Jesus knows the history, and he knows people's history, as we'll find out in this chapter. And what's he going to do with that? Is he just going to follow the cultural script that's given to him, the thing that he's expected to do or say or act in these situations? And I think we'll find that he doesn't. But I think it's important to note that he's not just above all of the history and all of the things and all of our human messiness. He's entering into it. And we'll see what he does with it, with a person that he meets next time.